This girl was frozen for 20 years. When she wakes up, her face hasn't changed at all. She walks down the street feeling weak. The 34 degrees Celsius heat makes her feel like she's melting. She needs to get home quickly to rest. On the bus, she takes out a bill, waiting eagerly for the driver to give her change. The driver looks confused and points to the fare sign. The bus fare tripled years ago. Miran looks puzzled. Yesterday, it was only 501. How did it become 1,301 today? But she's too tired to think. After struggling to reach her home, no one answers the door. In her excitement, she even pulls the doorknob off. Miran happily pushes the door open, but finds the place empty. She thinks her family was kicked out for not paying rent. She quickly calls her mom, but her phone completely breaks. She goes to a shop to fix it. The worker looks at it and says this model was discontinued 10 years ago. It's not worth fixing. Miran can't believe it. The phone stopped being made just 1 month after I bought it. She asks the police to help find her family. They ask for her ID. She pours out old items from her bag and finds her handwritten ID card. The officer can't believe his eyes, 44 years old, but the records confirm it's real. They find her mom's number, but no one answers. Miran leaves a message. Mom, it's Miran. Where are you? I'm at the police station. Please come get me. After a long day, she hasn't seen anyone familiar. She goes to find her college friends, but sees a banner saying 2019. She collapses in shock and asks a student, "What year is it?" 2019. 2019? Impossible. She just took a nap. How did 20 years pass? Her family arrives. Her brother runs blowing a childhood whistle calling her name. Miran recognizes him immediately. The little boy she protected is now grown. He carries her home. Their old apartment is now a big house. Miran remembers struggling with rent, but now her mom says she's rich. After Miran disappeared, the lab sent photos and her savings. Her parents built a business waiting for her. Her room is perfectly kept, like she never left. Meanwhile, Dongchan wakes in a pod. The outside world looks strange. The heat overwhelms him. He collapses and wakes in hospital. Doctors find his temperature is 31.5 degrees Celsius, impossible for humans. Before they can investigate more, Dongchan wakes up. He tells the doctors his name and workplace details, asking the hospital to quickly contact his colleagues to film the footage. The man's name is Dongchan. He's a top TV producer to create a groundbreaking variety show. He joined Dr. Huang's human freezing experiment, staying frozen in a capsule for 24 hours. Successful thawing would make national headlines before he can finish. Dongchan has trouble breathing and faints again. No choice. Doctors contact his TV station, colleagues and family using the information he provided, but his colleagues are shocked by the call. Dr. Huang died in a car accident, and both frozen subjects disappeared overnight. To avoid public backlash, the station destroyed all evidence of the experiment, claiming Dongchan went missing after quitting. This is complicated. Meanwhile at the hospital, people are crying loudly, seeing familiar yet strange faces by his bed. Dongchan is confused. His mother's hair has turned white. Everything feels so strange. Everything seems completely different. He pulls out his phone and runs from the bed, then sees the date on the wall. Dongchan stands frozen in shock. Just one night's sleep and 20 years have passed. Numbly following his family home, he sees his photo now used as their pork chop shop sign. Their villa has become a small 3-room apartment. During his 20-year disappearance, his parents never stopped searching. Their business declined without attention, all savings spent on the endless search. His father died from grief several years ago. Hearing this, Dongchan feels lost in time. What should have been 24 hours became 20 lost years. He rushes to the old lab site, meeting Dr. Huang's assistant, Dr. Zhou, after Dr. Huang's accident. Following his last instructions, Dr. Zhou buried the lab underground to save them. But Dr. Zhou has bad news. The whale in the experiment died from overheating. Dr. Zhou warns, never get a fever. Dongchan asks, is 31.5 degrees Celsius normal for frozen people? Dr. Zhou says yes. The limit is 33 degrees Celsius. Above that could be fatal. 24-year-old Beauty Miran now looks like a 40-plus-year-old woman trying to find work. She never finished her last college semester with no work experience on her resume. Interviewers ask, 44-year-old new graduate, just starting work now, never married or worked before. What were you doing all these years? Miran yells, you think I chose to freeze for 20 years? Furious, she storms to the station to confront Dongchan. Give me back my 20 years. Return my lost youth. She trusted this man and joined that freezing experiment. But she doesn't know. Dongchan's situation is worse, from young man to 52-year-old. His siblings wasted all his money, now completely broke. Miran says, I missed my brother growing up. No career, no marriage. Just 20 years frozen. He says, me too. Woke up a 52-year-old man. The two middle-aged cry together, bursting into loud sobs. After venting, they decide to work together, demanding compensation from the TV station. The director tries to avoid responsibility, but Miran has their signed safety guarantee. To convince her to join, the director signed a contract. Now he regrets it deeply. Fearing exposure, they come to negotiate. Miran calculates 500 million KRW for 24 hours frozen. So 200,000 per hour, 8,760 hours per year. That's 1.752 billion times 20 years equals 35.04 billion. We also need to consider that prices have nearly tripled since then. Miran generously rounds down the number for them, 70 billion. Just pay me 70 billion won in total compensation. And we're even hearing this astronomical amount. The two men nearly faint from shock. Even if they sold their entire TV station, it wouldn't be worth this much. They start crying poor together. But Miran isn't buying their act. She threatens to expose them to the media if they don't pay. If news gets out about freezing people alive for 20 years, they'll spend the rest of their lives in prison. The boss reluctantly agrees to try raising the money. But they don't know that Dongchan's return to the TV station has already been photographed by paparazzi and posted online. The legendary producer who disappeared 20 years ago has suddenly reappeared, and he hasn't aged a single day. Netizens immediately push this news to the top of trending searches. But Dongchan knows nothing about this. After calming himself, he plans to return to work at the TV station to earn money. But then he runs into his former fiancée. Before entering the freezer, he thought he'd emerge after 24 hours as a success. Instead, he slept for 20 years. Seeing his fiancée still single after all these years, Dongchan feels terrible. Fortunately, Ha-young is willing to forgive him, just as they're rekindling their old romance. Dongchan finds old news reports about his disappearance in the archives. Back then, Dr. Huang's assistant buried the lab underground, and all the frozen people vanished. After a routine search found nothing, the police closed the case. Not only did the TV station avoid reporting it to control rumors, but even his fiancée Ha-young never once reported him missing. What's worse, shortly after his disappearance was reported, she got promoted to host the station's top show. She basically traded his safety for her career. He asks, you knew I was joining the freezing experiment, but like everyone at the station, you never looked for me. Do you know what shocked me most when I saw the police reports? You never mentioned the freezing experiment to the police, not even once. I thought you'd be different. Was I wrong? Ha-young looks guilty. At Dongchan's questions, she explains that while she didn't report him missing, she remained single all these years. Dongchan feels heartbroken. He knows they can't go back to how things were. Then Dr. Zhou calls. He says Dr. Huang is being targeted by unknown people. They seem to know the car crash didn't kill him years ago, and they're making moves again. He asks Dongchan to find a safe place for Dr. Huang, because only he can develop the drug to restore frozen people to normal. With no choice, Dongchan takes Dr. Huang to his family's pork cutlet restaurant. Meanwhile, their parents are united in blaming Dr. Huang for the freezing experiment that trapped their children for 20 years and left their families poor. While Dongchan's home is in chaos over Dr. Huang, Miran ends her school break to finish her final semester of college. Unfortunately, her cheating ex, Byung-shim, is now her elective professor. Because Byung-shim loves using his looks to cheat, he's had many plastic surgeries over the years. Miran doesn't recognize him, but Byung-shim immediately spots Miran, who looks exactly as she did 20 years ago. His thoughts take a strange turn. He imagines a dramatic love story where she pines for him. In his fantasy, she says, "To see you again. I refuse to drink the afterlife potion to keep my looks." He asks, "Do you love me that much?" She replies, "Even after 10 lifetimes, I'd only love you." While classmates use tablets for notes, she still writes in a notebook when listening to music. Others use wireless earbuds, but she still uses her old Walkman and cassettes. When a tape gets tangled, she fixes it with a quick twist of her pen. These habits make her stand out from modern students. But Byung-shim finds them charming. He feels like his youth has returned. After class, he approaches Miran to reconnect. "Let's make up for lost time," he says. Miran asks, "What? Aren't you married?" He replies, "I'll be divorced soon, because you're back in my life." But facing this married man who still can't change his cheating ways, Miran gives him another brutal beating. College student assaults professor in public. Miran gets taken to the police station. Dongchan rushes to bail her out. After getting the call, he scolds Miran for losing her temper and attacking someone, saying her rising body temperature could kill her. But when he hears why she hit Byung-shim, he praises her and says she did right. Even joins in and beats up Byung-shim himself. They cool down by eating cold noodles together. Meanwhile, Byung-shim wet his pants from Miran's beating and has to call his wife for help, asking her to bring clean pants to school. That's when Miran learns Byung-shim's poor wife is actually her best friend, Young-seon. Before she can process this, Byung-shim starts his next move. He thinks Miran secretly loves him but won't admit it and decides to remove all obstacles between them. When he gets home, he immediately asks his wife for divorce. Unexpectedly, Young-seon doesn't try to stop him, just beats him up and kicks him out with nothing, with his wife reacting unexpectedly. Byung-shim stays temporarily in school dorms asking students to bring him clothes from home. Seeing his nearly empty bank account, he starts missing his rich wife. But then he finds an ad for a rooftop room rental. The landlord is Miran's father. It feels like fate is bringing them together. Excited, Byung-shim rents the place when Miran is at work and quickly moves in, then tries to get close to Miran's family. One day after work, Miran sees her brother reading Freud. The only person who talks about Freud constantly is Byung-shim. Miran quietly checks the rooftop room and, sure enough, finds the jerk in the living room as her ex and her best friend's husband. He gives her a massive headache. Helpless Miran calls Young-seon. "Our rooftop room got rented out, and your husband moved in." Young-seon shouts. "What?" Young-seon rushes over to confront her husband. That same day, some kidnappers ambush them in a quiet underground garage, grabbing Miran and Dongchan and throwing them into a freezer truck. Jack calls his boss to report progress, planning to freeze them to death and dump their bodies after driving for hours. He thinks they must be frozen solid. But when he opens the door, they're perfectly fine, being cryogenic humans. Meanwhile, Jack is shivering from the cold. They give Jack a brutal beating. Dongchan smiles and approaches the driver's seat, threatening to report their kidnapping, scaring the other kidnapper into driving away. They walk for hours without seeing anyone. As the noon sun gets hotter, the temperature change hits them hard. Miran gets dizzy and can't see clearly. Dongchan carries her while running. When a doctor tries to check Miran's temperature, Dongchan stops him, saying to just give fever medicine. If people learn about cryogenic humans, the TV station would face huge trouble. To keep Dongchan quiet, the station gives him 20 years' salary and a car. Dongchan wasn't planning to talk, but, seeing weak Miran in bed, he makes a decision. He goes on a popular TV talk show and reveals he's a cryogenic human protecting the TV station, taking all responsibility himself. As expected, this revolutionary news goes viral. Despite the 33 degrees Celsius body temperature limit, cryogenic humans are now proven possible. Research companies offer him deals, making Dongchan very popular. He gets sponsored fever medicine but keeps Miran's existence secret, giving her a temperature monitor bracelet and telling her to always carry fever medicine. His constant care and attention makes Miran fall for him. Next day, they scout locations for a new show, wanting comprehensive shots. They wander deep into the forest when they realize they can't find their way back. Their water supply slowly runs out. The midday sun keeps getting hotter without mercy. Both of them feel worse and worse. Their body temperatures reach dangerous levels. Dongchan leads Miran to sit on some open ground, ready to use fever-reducing shots to save themselves. But when Miran checks her bag, she realizes she carelessly left the medicine box at home. As both their temperatures reach critical levels, they only have one life-saving fever shot left. By now, Miran has already fainted. Dongchan hesitates for just a few seconds, then gives the only shot to her. Miran quickly recovers, but Dongchan falls unconscious from the heat. At this critical moment, sunshower suddenly falls from the sky. Heaven helps save Dongchan's life. This brush with death leaves Miran shaken. Dongchan's heroic act touches her heart deeply. She kisses him. And right at this beautiful moment, a man rides by on a tricycle, not only leading them out of the forest, but taking them straight back to the city. On their way home, Dongchan turns on the radio to ease the awkwardness, but unexpectedly the song keeps repeating kiss, kiss. Too embarrassed to sleep that night, Miran forces herself to call Dongchan to apologize. They talk back and forth, overanalyzing every word and pause, finding hidden meanings everywhere. Neither sleeps all night. The next day, Miran sincerely apologizes for kissing him, even offers to reduce her 70 billion compensation by 1.5 billion as payment to Dongchan. Dongchan loudly asks Miran, "Would you give your first kiss to any man before dying?" Startled, Miran blurts out no. Satisfied with this answer, Dongchan smiles. From then on he becomes even more attentive. When Miran feels embarrassed, he secretly holds her hand under the table, keeps reminding her to bring fever medicine. Even when she takes taxis home, he notes the license plates for her safety. Through this constant care, their feelings grow deeper. Meanwhile, her ex Byung-shim posts a video online calling Dongchan a cheater dating a married woman. Seeing this trending, Young Seon decides to divorce Byung-shim. But while preparing divorce papers that night, she sees her son's photo with Miran. She never imagined the college senior her son keeps mentioning is actually her best friend Miran. Both husband and son fell for the same woman. Young Seon tells Miran, "Stay away from my son. Boys will be boys. They think love solves everything. Shouldn't responsible adults like us stop this?" Miran counters, "Your 20-year-old is a child. Does that make my 24-year-old self an adult?" Meanwhile, Dongchan's ex Ha-young gets promoted to news director for hiding his whereabouts. After 20 years apart, Dongchan considers their relationship over, but Ha-young won't give up, trying to recreate their past. Hearing Dongchan went scouting with Miran, she books the same hotel. After dressing up, she texts Dongchan her room number, hoping he'll understand the hint. But she waits all night. Her door never opens. Back at work, seeing Dongchan avoid her while flirting with Miran, she turns vengeful, remembering Dongchan once mentioned a frozen person underground who looks like Tycoon Lee Suk-do. She contacts tabloids exposing Miran's frozen identity. Ignoring online chaos, she watches Lee Suk-do's movements. Sure enough, after Dr. Joe announces he can unfreeze people, his car explodes the next day. Luckily, he'd forgotten some papers and stepped out early. If he had been 10 seconds later, the only person in the world who could thaw frozen humans would have died. As the news director, Ha-young has many sources of information. After connecting the dots, she quickly figures out the truth. The current chaebol heir Lee Suk-do is actually his twin brother, Lee Hyung-do, but the inheritance rules in wealthy families are harsh and cruel. The older brother, Lee Suk-do, inherited everything, while Lee Hyung-do only got a small allowance and lived as a rich but powerless man. This made the ambitious Lee Hyung-do furious. So when his brother fell into a coma in 1999, he easily took over his identity as the new Lee Suk-do. But he didn't expect. His brother had signed a cryonics contract beforehand. Soon after the coma, Dr. Huang took him away for the experiment. 20 years ago, Lee Hyung-do finally tracked down Dr. Huang, trying to enter the lab as family, but was refused. So he decided to go all the way. He had Dr. Huang killed, with the only expert on thawing gone. His brother, Lee Suk-do, would stay frozen forever, but 20 years later a frozen person actually woke up successfully. The more Miran and Dongchan enjoy their new lives, the angrier Lee Hyung-do gets. Then the jealous Ha-young shows up and tells him Dr. Huang's location in exchange for putting Miran back in the capsule. Lee Hyung-do quickly sends men to find Dr. Huang, planning to kill him and his brother together. But the cryo capsule is empty. Lee Suk-do, who should be there, is gone. Dr. Joe tells Dongchan that Dr. Huang has been kidnapped by Lee Hyung-do, but they were prepared for this. He already contacted Lee Suk-do's son. As long as his son exposes Lee Hyung-do, Dr. Huang will return safely. Meanwhile, Lee Hyung-do, the fake chairman, is holding a high-level meeting. Just then the real chairman, Lee Suk-do, appears. A battle to prove who's the real Lee Suk-do begins. Both claim to be the real Lee Suk-do. Everyone is confused. Who should they believe? Lee Suk-do's son steps forward and points to the man he's supporting as his real father. Then a man stands up. He tells everyone that the former chairman said something to Lee Suk-do before passing the title to him. Whoever can repeat those words is the real Lee Suk-do. Lee Hyung-do panics. He has no idea what the former chairman said. But Lee Suk-do repeats the exact words. Now everyone knows he's the real chairman. The police arrest Lee Hyung-do, but his assistant escapes. Dr. Huang is rescued safely. Dongchan, A 52-year-old handsome man is dating his 44-year-old girlfriend. But whenever they get too close, their body temperatures rise dangerously. So they start a low-temperature dating style. They kiss in the rain, kiss under cold showers, and even go on dates in trendy ice cafes. Two older women leave after just 5 minutes, unable to stand the cold. But Dongchan and Miran love the icy feeling. They even try to kiss inside the ice cafe. The women sigh and say, young people really have strong energy. Soon their families find out about their relationship. Dongchan's mom worries that Miran's frozen body might have trouble having children. She invites Miran over for dinner, hoping to gently break them up. At dinner she hints, you two aren't dating seriously, right? But Miran doesn't follow the script. She says, I'm only 24, Auntie, I haven't thought about marriage yet. Dongchan's mom says, oh, that's a relief. Miran adds, but even if we don't marry, can I ask why you don't approve? After all, I'm a pretty great girl. Dongchan's mom asks, what makes you so confident? Miran says, I work hard, I'm not picky, and I have a good temper. Plus, I'm super rich. I'll get 70 billion won in compensation from the TV station. And Dongchan's weird personality, not many people can handle him. Her words leave the family speechless. Their emotions mixed. Who can say no to a sweet, funny, and wealthy young woman? Dongchan's mom realizes Miran is joking to make her happy and finally smiles in approval. Miran wins over her future mother-in-law easily. Meanwhile, Dr. Huang finishes the first version of the thawing serum. He excitedly calls Dongchan. But Dongchan doesn't tell Miran. Instead, he tests it on himself first to make sure it's safe before giving it to her. After the injection, his temperature slowly rises, but he also has trouble breathing and chest pain. Dr. Huang says this is part of the recovery process, and it will last about 7 days. Dongchan carefully records his symptoms, wanting to finish the Frozen show from 20 years ago. Since he and Miran woke up, many people in the country have asked to join the cryo program. Parents with sick children hoping to save them even if it means freezing them. Lovers with terminal illnesses wanting to wait together for a cure, and countless others who need time to heal. Dongchan can't forget their hopeful eyes. He keeps tracking his temperature and symptoms daily. He keeps collecting data to help future frozen patients. Day 3. His breathing problems and chest pain are gone. During their usual ice room date, Dongchan starts feeling very cold. To stay with Miran longer, he keeps doing push-ups to warm up. Day 5. His body temperature reaches 35.5 degrees Celsius, passing the frozen patient's critical limit of 33 degrees Celsius. But he no longer feels dizzy or nauseous. Day 7. Dongchan's temperature returns to a normal 36.5 degrees Celsius. After full medical tests, his health is completely back to normal. Dongchan buys matching couple watches for Miran, promising to wear them when both remove their medical bracelets. But the day before Miran's temperature treatment disaster strikes, a masked man in black, Lee Hyung-doo's escaped assistant, follows Dongchan to the filming site with a knife. Miran sees this and, without warning, jumps in front of him and gets stabbed. Dongchan never imagined that on the eve of Miran's thawing success, she'd be gravely hurt. Protecting him, his hands are covered in her warm blood. But after rushing her to surgery, worse news comes. Doctors need immediate consent for emergency surgery, but Dr. Huang stops them. Miran's frozen body is at 31.5 degrees Celsius, barely sustaining basic functions. Anesthesia would drop her temperature further, killing her within 2 hours. But the new temperature serum takes 7 days to work. There's no time. The only option is to refreeze her while developing a faster thawing serum. Heartbroken, Dongchan agrees. As ice crystals cover Miran's face, he breaks down in tears to comfort her grieving parents. He moves into their home. Over time, they become family. 2 years later, Dongchan regains his TV producer fame while working in Jeju Island. Dr. Huang calls. The fast thaw serum is ready. Miran can be treated immediately. Dongchan races to the hospital. The serum should normalize her temperature in 30 minutes, but it condenses 7 days of pain into half an hour. Everyone watches anxiously as she's wheeled into surgery. 3 agonizing hours later, doctors announce success, but Miran remains unconscious. She might wake in a day or never. Later, on another Jeju trip, the hospital calls. After 3 years apart, the lovers reunite at last. Their embrace makes every hardship worthwhile. Parents push for marriage, but Miran, having slept through half her life, wants to study abroad first. Panicked she'll meet someone younger. Dongshan quits his job and joins her travels. They start a vlog documenting adventures worldwide, becoming famous influencers side by side. They explore the world together,